should a tournament make that like, hey, let's make the loudest hole in disc golf where you walk up to it and, obviously in disc golf it wouldn't be 60, 70,000 people, but it might be able to be 400 or 500 people who are still, cheering the entire time you're, chanting your name walking up, similar to hole 8 at Maple Hill, but a little bit of a bigger scale where they can do it there or not. And if there is a hole, what hole would you pick as like this hole makes a lot of sense to have it? Is it hole 8 at Maple Hill, or do you even think was it a bad idea for disc golf?
Yeah, so I think Maple Hill, especially now with the playoffs being the way they are and it being towards the end of the season, I don't think that's a good idea.
I didn't even think about it being playoffs.
Because Waste Management's very early on in the season. And I mean, it's a big tournament, obviously, but it's not a situation of where guys are, scrapping for points near the end of the season to try to make it into the playoffs or whatever it may be. So if they were going to do it, honestly, like a tournament like Las Vegas, finding a hole at Las Vegas would be not a bad idea, or even I'm trying to think. Like the earlier tournaments are kind of iffy, like Waco. There's not really a good hole. I'm thinking off the top of my head because you need a couple things, right? You need an actual good hole to where it needs to be some sort of par 3 situation. But then at the same time, I feel like it has to organically happen.
Yeah.
I think with 16, it was kind of a twofold of where they organically allowed the crowd to kind of get rowdy. And I think some of the players played up to that, but at the same time, they built, the stadium and the people will come type of thing, where I don't know I guess if you find a good hole and you build like bleachers and grandstands around it, but I would say the only thing right now that's going to probably be stopping that is just the sheer number of fans at these tournaments is obviously way smaller. And then I would also say there is a large portion of people that come to these tournaments that just walk with cards. I would say you are probably not in the majority of spectators if you go to a tournament and just post up on a hole. Obviously, you said hole 8 at Maple Hill, and you have people there. But I would say if you looked at the grand scheme of the amount of people on hole 8 versus – and also the amount of people on hole 8 at 10 o'clock in the morning, not at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
That percentage is probably going to be really, really small. So I think for this to work, it needs to be a good hole. You need to build some sort of stand, and then you need to make sure that you have enough spectators coming. And I don't think right now, from what I have seen on the few tournaments I've played with spectators, it's not as common for fans to just post up on a hole.
Yeah.
You rarely ever see it.
Well, but I have seen when they've been selling tickets this year for the Pro Tour, they seem to be selling kind of like different styles of tickets at most of these events, where there's like general admission,
yes,
and those are like general admission areas, and then like VIP
OTB
where you can follow.
OTB Open's a good example. OTB Open, they had, I want to say, I can't remember what numbers, 7 and 8, 8 and 9, something like that. Where it was basically a tent kind of a peninsula, and it was right caddy corner to a tee shot, either hole 8 or hole 9 or some hole. And then you could also see the previous hole 7 or something set up there. I want to say they actually were probably playing music as well, and there was a whole bunch of people there. So now that you brought that up, some tournaments you're starting to see something like that, of where like you have these VIP spots where some people are posting up. I was saying more generally, like you're not really seeing where in golf you will see people literally just post up on the back of a hill on some holes because they love that hole or whatever. And also that's the best way of seeing every player. Where right now in disc golf, the way it's set up, it's like there's not enough name recognition to where people want to sit and watch 4 hours of disc golfers come
Mm-hmm.
through, because there might be a section of an hour of where you don't know a single disc golfer that's playing. That will get better, obviously, but in golf, if you want to see all, the only way you're going to turn on to go through.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, I think because the one of the main reasons I even wanted to bring it up of like, is it a good idea for disc golf, was because of how much I was seeing it on social media from across all accounts, just because it's a crazy thing to witness on hole 16 at Waste Management. Yeah. And I was like, that could be a good marketing tactic for an event, because if hole 8 at Maple Hill, unfortunately, I don't think it's the area around it's big enough to build it out to where you are going to have so many people there. But if a tournament was able to accomplish it, it does have to happen organically. And I also think it's a good point you brought up that the local community is like someone who leads it, because obviously a lot of the spectators in disc golf, all the spectators are from the local community. But if it is able to turn into something, the reach within disc golf is going to be big for the tournament, because it becomes something you want to go be a part of like, oh, it's like Duke basketball. I'm a Duke fan. I have to relate it to something I know. Cameron Indoor is small intentionally. Obviously, Duke has enough money they could build a big stadium, but the reason they keep it small and intimate is it's an experience. So when you walk into Cameron, if you're in the Cameron Crazies, I got to be in there for one game. Well, the general admission's like butted up next to it. It's an experience. It's something you remember for your lifetime, and it's something that you want to travel to go be a part of.